I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap
He don't want
circles
no
around.
smoke. He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million he done
Okay
made.
then, so then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him. He wasn't bothering you.
Jim Jones was never better than Nas. Jim Jones will never be better than Nas. And this is coming from somebody that's not a Nas fan. I love Dipset. I love the Diplomats. I love Bird Gang. But we not about to start rewriting history because Jim Jones got confidence.
You know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03. Not all of them, some of them.
Jim Jones pulled up to Shannon Sharpe's show and said something wild. He claimed he's not just relevant, but more influential than Nas himself. More important to the culture, that line alone flipped the whole internet upside down. But 50 Cent, he didn't say a single word. No shady caption, no diss track. He just posted an old federal transcript on Instagram and kept it pushing. Let the streets do the math. Now the internet's deep diving into wiretaps, old interviews are getting reposted, and out of nowhere, Jim's in the gym yelling into his phone, dropping sneak disses like he's gearing up for lockdown. But don't get it twisted, this isn't just about Nas. And it definitely ain't just about pride. This move from 50, it feels like a reminder, a warning. Like he's silently telling the whole industry who's really untouchable and who got real lucky dodging indictments. Jim might have been trying to flex, but now he might have kicked off something way bigger than he expected. And let's not forget, anytime Jim Jones brings up Nas, it always stirs the pot. Because this beef didn't just pop up last week. Nah, this goes all the way back to 2002 when Nas went off live on Hot 97, randomly calling out Cameron and clowning his album as whack.
I never got to, see Nas. I never got to sit down and have a conversation with Nas and things like that. I had called you about it and things like that. That was like still one of the people that I never got to have a conversation throughout my history of rap and things like that. I think I would love to have a conversation with Nas. I wouldn't know if he knows it, but Nas was one of my all-time favorite rappers coming up and things like that.
I've heard you say that.
Since the barbecue and things like that. Like he really put the whole dope boy rap, crack hustler, get fresh rap into perspective before anybody else.
With no real explanation. That was all Dipset needed to hear. They snapped. Jim Jones dove in head first, no hesitation. What started as a back and forth turned into a full-blown war on mixtapes. Shots fired. But Jim, he made it personal. He straight up threatened to smack the kufi off Nas and kept that exact same heat on every track he dropped. It wasn't just music anymore. Jim was out for blood. But here's where things get complicated. Because truth be told, Jim used to rock with Nas heavy. Just a year ago, he wasn't saying anything slick. It was all love, respect, admiration.
I recently saw a clip on Instagram where a young kid was comparing you to Nas and saying that you got
that's my young boy
big
right
hits.
He's wild.
Yo, he looked to you. He learned how to wear the BB Simon belt from you. He got his swag. Like, how crazy is that? Because in my era, you know what I'm saying? Nas is like a god.
In my era too.
But somewhere along the line, that love flipped into straight up shade. It all came to a head when Jim showed up on Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast. And of course, Fat Joe couldn't resist stirring the pot. He lives for the drama. But Jim, he didn't back off. He leaned in. He was practically itching to go deeper on the topic, and oh boy, he did just that. Out of nowhere, he dropped one of the wildest hot takes in recent memory. Jim didn't just say he's still relevant. He said he's more influential than Nas. We talking about Nas, Queensbridge legend, the one who gave us Illmatic, God's Son, King's Disease, the man still packing out Madison Square Garden in his 50s.
Remember, Nas' first record, The Barbecue, came out when I was in 11th grade.
Yes.
So Nas was my idol when I was young. Like you did, came to dressing, the wordplay, the music, everything. I was a superior Nas fan, period. I'd never take that away from him. But then as I got in the game, you gotta realize that your rivals would be idols, and not to take anything away from that, I developed my own style and my own lane that these kids start to gravitate towards the same way I gravitated towards Nas when I was younger and things like that. It's a whole different generation.
That interview didn't just stir the pot, it flipped the whole pot over and lit the stove on fire. Before the smoke even cleared, Jim Jones was already back outside with more to say. Fresh off that viral moment, Jim pulled up to a different platform. This time, it was Shannon Sharpe's Nightcap, joined by none other than Chad Okerchenko. And instead of walking anything back, Jim came ready to double down. He wasn't trying to clean it up. He was ready to go further. Shannon, he didn't let Jim coast. He opened the convo with heat, calling it out from the jump. But just when you think Jim's about to ease off the gas, boom, he drops another wild take. Jim started dragging the old Dipset vs. Nas drama back from the early 2000s. He said he was a bigger Nas fan back then, but claimed he'd passed Nas in cultural impact.
Jim Jones. No diplomats, no nobody else. Me, Jim Jones. Check my track record, then check everybody else's track record. Then go to the billboards and check all my entries, then check all them entries and shit. And I'm not taking nothing away from nobody, but I hear the comparisons and then be trying to act funny when it comes. No, I've been spanking a lot of this shit about the industry.
Then came the pivot. Jim brought up Nas's fashion, called him one of the flyest ever, but kept looping back to his main argument. Nas doesn't move the streets like I do. And just when you thought it couldn't get pettier, Jim got salty as ever. He even started roasting Shannon for how he dressed. Like bro turned a hip-hop debate into a whole fashion show roast session.
I want you to Nas, and I don't care what nobody say. I know I made a little boo-boo when you talk about the sales and all this type of shit. I don't feel like getting into that rhetoric about where I started and where he started.
Well, you said that bullshit.
But listen, Nas was nice when I was in high school. When I was in 10th grade, Nas came out. Mm-hmm. Nas was dope. We appreciated him. He had a little bit run.
By now, Ocho Cinco was just chilling, posted up like a spectator, watching Shannon Sharpe and Jim Jones go head-to-head.
Nas always came up second to Jay and DMX and all these other people. Like,
ain't no shame in that. There a lot of folks came up second to Tom Brady.
He never had that type of influence on us, except for his first album. I already told you, I used to want to dress like Nas because he had a lot of fresh clothes that the hustlers used to wear, and we used to see him on TV. He had one of the illest albums of all time. And then in high school when he had the barbecue and shit like that. So I'm a real fan of Nas, but he kind of lost me after the movie Belly and shit like that.
It wasn't a podcast anymore. It was a verbal boxing match. They were going back and forth about Nas, and then Jim snapped.
The 40 and 50-year-olds in their panties because I said I'm better than Nas.
It don't matter.
Look at you. Look at you.
Nobody from Dipset gonna take you over Nas. Nobody from the Diplomats but you.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on, Jim. Hold on.
That shirt too tight.
Hold on. Jim.
You want to go back to I Really Mean It? I Really Mean It started. We could go back to the history, bro.
But you didn't even say that.
He accused Shannon of only bringing him on the show for clout, for views.
Still playing at a high level. You check my record,
jumping up and down.
I'm still playing at a high level. I'm rapping at a high level. You better check my stats, bro. I will run circles around Nas rapping right. I will run circles around Nas rapping right now. Right now, I will run Saturn around Nas right now rapping.
That's when Uncle Shannon flipped. He barked back, "This the biggest podcast you ever been on?" And just like that, the vibe shifted from chill interview to straight up showdown.
It's the biggest podcast you ever been on. Do you know what podcast you been on bigger than this one?
Hold on. We off topic. Hold on.
This is what I do. You see
name a podcast you been on bigger than this one. When you get big, you get invited to Club Shay Shay.
This is what I do.
Nas get invited to Club Shay Shay.
Shannon turned into a whole opponent. He wasn't playing host no more. He was ready to throw down. And when Jim doubled down and said he was better than Nas, Shannon didn't just check his music catalog. He came for everything. He came for the gym stats. He was like, "Oh, word? Let's see you prove it in the weight room."
Stop buying baggy your clothes, big fella. You too big, man.
You talk about you in the gym. Now you want to get me? You want me to see me in the gym?
Oh, we could do that.
Since you like to talk that ish, now come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out.
Come see me in the gym.
We talking about working out or strength?
What
we talking about? Working out or strength?
Work however you want to do it.
We talking about
since you got money.
And we talking about
put your money where your mouth is.
So you talking about working out?
Run them stacks.
You talking about working out? I burn you. You talking about working out or strength? Because you probably can lift a lot more than me.
Whatever.
You're bigger than me. You're probably stronger than me. But if you talk about working out, I'll burn you.
This ain't what you do. This ain't what you want. You are doing good when you talk about Nas and Jada. You don't want to see this.
Instead of clapping back at 50, Jim tried to switch lanes. He spun it into a fitness flex. He challenged Shannon to a full-blown workout war, thinking he could prove his dominance by outlifting, out-training, outlasting, but it just felt like a dodge. Meanwhile, 50 Cent, he was playing chess, silent, calculated. That one little post he dropped was still echoing. And one specific name from that old federal label list is still hanging in the air. real heavy. Meanwhile, the audience in the comments losing their minds. Folks couldn't believe a retired NFL Hall of Famer was the one going hard defending NAS. One fan even said, Shannon did what Fat Joe and Jada should have done. Jones, you delusional. Shaw, thank you for bringing it up. And that's real. Because why were they so quiet when Jim said all that reckless stuff the first time? While the drama kept escalating, 50 Cent was sitting backstage, just peeping the whole mess from the shadows. No laughs, no tweets, no noise, just silence. But just when people thought things couldn't get pettier, fans unearthed a throwback clip, and it was nasty.
I can't, like, if it was like Jim Jones, imagine putting a pen to paper to write about him. He was so nice about him. How did you do that? What's the first sentence? What the fuck do you write about him? I'm not anxious to hear the Jim Jones diss record. Like, I'm like, yo, the used to have so nervous was like B.I.G., Pop, right? Even Cannabis, like Eminem, used to have you like, if we go at it, dog, we gotta go hard. You know what I'm saying? But these Jim Jones, like, I respect you getting your money. You're like, exactly, right?
The ultimate disrespect. Jim didn't just get curved by Nas back then, he got straight up laughed off stage. And now, in 2025, that old clip is spinning all over the internet again like it never left. That embarrassment got put on replay, but it didn't stop there. Because while NAS kept it classy and quiet and Shannon was over there flexing in the gym, somebody else was lurking in the cut. 50 Cent, as soon as 50 heard Jim say he was better than Nas, he didn't flinch. He didn't even raise an eyebrow. He just pulled out a few receipts from his bottomless petty vault and threw gas on the fire. Again. With one caption, he brought back one of the wildest rumors in hip-hop history. He called Jim Individual One. See, here's where things take a dark turn, because Individual One ain't just some shady nickname. That title, it's a federal tag straight from a 2018 wiretap connected to Tekashi 6ix9ine Trey Blood's trial. During that case, prosecutors played a phone call where somebody was allegedly giving the green light to violate Tekashi for flipping on the crew. They never said Jim's name in court, but they did say Individual One, and fans swear that voice sounded just like Jim Jones. Now, legally, nothing stuck. Jim was never officially named, never charged, and the court stayed quiet. But the streets, the blogs, and especially 50 Cent, they never forgot that wiretap.
Hiding out in Texas. Please, whatever you do, don't tell them I'm in San Antonio. Don't tell them I'm staying at the Four Seasons. Don't tell them, please don't tell them, man, because there's just so much pressure on me right now. I don't know what to do.
So now, fast forward to Jim talking heavy on these podcasts, trying to pull Nas into a lyrical war. 50 saw the perfect moment to strike. Quietly but lethally, he reached deep into his Instagram archives and brought back a meme he once posted, then quickly deleted. It said, "So that's why they ain't pull him in. Say it ain't so, Jimmy." Boom. Just like that, the internet snapped back to 2019 when the Shade Room dropped court updates from Tekashi's trial, and a verified court reporter said Tekashi actually named Jim Jones as a 9 Trey member. And of course, 50 couldn't help himself. He jumped in that comment section and lit it up. Then came the infamous video, the one where 50 looked dead serious, even a little spooked, and everybody started asking, what does 50 really know? 50 literally wrote, "I'm afraid for my life. I mean, Jimmy is gang gang." The internet cracking up, memes everywhere. But behind the jokes, Jim, you could tell he was tight, twitching in the background while folks laughed it up online. But here's where it really flips. Because let's be clear, 50 Cent didn't start this drama over Nas. He's had long-standing tension with Jim Jones, and Jim's wild Nas comments just gave him the perfect excuse to spin the block on him again.
Yeah, Jimmy boy, you should have never brought this up. Y'all are only 3 years apart, and Nas is just like murdering you. You asked us to look up the stats, and here they are. Like Jim Jones, like you got a couple songs. I mean, like literally, it's a couple. But we're talking about Nas. Let me show y'all Nas's last projects. Nas been getting it in. since 2018. Jimmy, when the last time you put out an album? Oh, would you look at that? You have been dropping music. You've really been dropping music. But nobody's heard it.
Rewind it back to 2007. G-Unit was on fire. Dipset was crumbling, and right in the middle of all that chaos, 50 Cent brought Jim Jones and Joel Santana out on stage during a G-Unit concert. Cameron saw that as pure disrespect, especially while Dipset was already falling apart from the inside. That move, straight power play. Then in 2019, Tekashi's trial put even more heat on Jim. That wiretap where someone gave the green light to violate Tekashi. Prosecutors never said Jim's name, but Individual 1 got stuck on him real quick. And even though he wasn't charged, the snitching rumors exploded online. 50 saw the whole storm, every single headline, and he fed it. Meme after meme, post after post. And Jim, he held back at first, didn't clap back right away. Instead, he dropped a throwback pic from the Bird Gang glory days. Leather coats, diamonds, full Dipset drip, and the caption, "Why you keep lying? LOL, I'm going back to sleep. Free Mel Matrix till it's reversed." That post wasn't just shade, it was personal. Jim shouted out his longtime homie Mel Matrix, who's serving over 11 years on federal racketeering charges. And that line, it was a slick jab at 50, calling him out for living in a fake world and pushing a fake narrative. But Jim wasn't done throwing punches. He hopped back on the gram with another Jim flex captioned, "Somebody tell Shannon Sharpe don't start ducking this challenge now. Go and talk like a podcaster or go and walk what you talk. Because my sneaker's tied. You already challenged me in front of the world. Might as well finish the job, champ." He didn't stop there either. He name-dropped Ochochenko too. He said he don't want to do it in public. Tell him let's do it in private. I know Shannon's rep as an athlete on the line. Just be the witness, Ocho. We don't duck no challenges. Size don't matter where I'm from. Run it. So while 50 was trolling with memes and mystery captions, Jim was in full combat mode, treating this like a two-front war. One aimed at 50's legacy, the other at Shannon's pride. And then, boom, he dropped another shot, this time at NAS fans directly. He posted, "If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, you already lost. Y'all fell for the bait. My streams go up every time Mel go viral. I'm teaching you older artists a lesson in marketing. You stuck in yesterday, mad at how the game moves now, tighten up." But the real mic drop, his caption sealed it all. "I said what I said. P.S. I'll wrap circles around any artist from my era. Whoever dares to step in the booth, bring a bag with you. This game ain't free. We outside in the field. Take that how you want, but trust. Moves are being made every single day. And the wildest part, through all this chaos, Nas stayed silent. Not a single post, not a single bar, nothing. Meanwhile, Jim's still out here barking, still throwing bait, still claiming he's more influential. But let's be real. If Nas ever decided to step in, it wouldn't be a diss. It'd be a lyrical execution, no debate. But fans, they're calling Jim out heavy now. Jim keeps poking. Nas keeps ghosting. And 50 Cent still playing Puppet Master from the cut. And here's the real threat. If that unreleased wiretap really exists, Jim might have just baited himself into something way bigger than rap. Because while he's rapping, flexing, and lifting weights on Instagram, 50's gone quiet, too quiet. And if you know 50, that's when the real smoke comes. So now the streets are watching, the blogs are waiting, and hip-hop is holding its breath. Will Nas finally clap back and end this with one verse? Or will 50 let the streets handle Jim, then drop the real truth when it's way too late to run? Let us know what you think in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe. And see what's in our hood next.